Hi guys, so I decided to make a small tutorial on application composition. Basically we can have some kind of composable structure in VL. So I created small empty repository here, and I want to start with creating a C# project. Just to show you how to set up a proper application. So we're gonna start with blank solution. Our solution name gonna be apptodo. So we go into add project, class library. We're gonna call it apptodo core. So in that point, in that place, we want to close the solution. And we want to do new folder. We're gonna call it src, and we're gonna copy the solution into this folder, and we're gonna remove this. So this basic setup for our project is ready on the C# side. Now we can add stuff like we're gonna create folder, we're gonna call it models, we're gonna add item, we're gonna call it todo model, we're gonna call it public record, and we're gonna define some props. So first thing I wanna do is probably new GUID ID. So I want another property string called title, and I want another property called, it's going to be boolean is completed. So can move to the script view. So let's add constructor. So constructor is going to take string title. When we construct our todo, we're gonna define it this way that we specify title and we set is completed to false. So later on in the application we can set is completed to true. Later on I think we would like also to have something like public spread subtask model, like subtask tasks, but as you can see, we don't have spread yet, and we don't have subtask model. So let's start by fixing the dependencies here. So manage NuGet packages, browse VL core, it's down, yes. Alright, so since we're here, we also need some kind of place where we're gonna code our totals. So let's create another class. We're going to call it totals model. It's also gonna be public record. It's going to have spread of total model. We're going to call it totals. So with this in place, we wanna start developing our VL part. So for that we can start our gamma. And to create new patch, we're gonna save it. We're gonna call it uptodo. So we wanna look at definitions. We wanna have a namespace set to uptodo. We need to add a dependency for our C# project. So we're going to save, we're going to check that we have our uptodo. Alright, we need one more thing set. So we don't want to deal with all this forwarding. So we're gonna create new folder here called properties. We're gonna add new item. It's class, we're gonna call it assembly info. We're going to remove all of that. We're gonna add using VL core import, and we want assembly import as is. Right, when this done, we can see that we have our folder, not a green but gray here. So we're going to start, so we can start to develop runtime of our application. So let's create new class. It's going to be called up runtime. So up runtime is going to be a class process it's going to have state output. So now we can add it as a process around here. So up runtime should also have an operation called update. This is kind of important because this is the class we're gonna use to go from the classes that are not going to have any update methods to classes that gonna display stuff, so they will have things happening in update. So this is kind of our data contract with the rest of the application. So what we're going to create here is another class, and we're going to call it Todos view model. And Todos view model, we only want to have a create, and we want to have this create inside of the singleton instance. So here we are going to define a pad. This pad going to be called Todos view model, and we're going to have this pad as output, and we're going to assign it to a new operation, and we're gonna call it Todos view model. Alright, so now inside of that class we want to have an input, and this input going to be of type Todos model. So we're going to create this model. We're gonna set this singleton instance on create also. So here we have our Todos model. I'm actually going to check the Todos model, and we can notice that we don't have a constructor here, and we probably want an empty constructor. So Todos going to be spread empty spread Todos empty. Forgot to set this to public. I think we need to build a solution. Why it's unhappy? Probably a typo somewhere. Anyways, this line is going to make sure that we don't have empty reference, since all the stuff like lists and arrays should be initialized somehow. So this is our initializer. Alright, so when this done, what we're going to do is we're going to create a channel of Todos model, and we're going to create pod, and we're going to call it Todos model. Not very pleasant name, but anyways. So basically, the Todos model is going to be our entry point for this view model. So everything is going to be subscribed from it. So Todos model we want to have on new operation, and we want this operation to be Todos model. So we had an empty model here. Now we have channel Todos model. We need pad so we can have it on another operation, on another method. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to create for each channel. No, sorry. We're going to create select by path. So this select by path is going to select Todos. Now we're going to have another pad over here, which is going to be Todos, and that pad is going to have an operation. So this is going to be Todos operation. We need to typecast it, so this is channel spread todo model. So with this set we can kinda move further here. So the reason we want this like this is because we want to change the Todos model when we modify Todo. Basically, when we change the spread of Todo model, we also want to modify the Todos. Well, we want to modify our initial model. So basically, this channel we got is going to be responsible for adding and removing Todos from the application. But we also would like to have some way of changing some way to change concrete Todo. So how we going to do this without update method is by creating for each channel, and here we're going to create uh, another class. We're going to call it todo view model. Whoops. So todo view model would also have only the create method, and what we're going to specify in here is basically an input of type todos, and we are going to do it like this. And for that input, we also want to specify the index as another input here. No, yes. So it's going to be index. Oops. And it's going to be of type integer 32. So when this set, we need to surround this with for each loop, and we need to create we need to have an index here. The reason behind this is if we would pass this todo model directly into todo view model, we're gonna lose the connection, the interconnection, because this channel is reactive, and this is already data which doesn't know anything about the channel. So if we modify this, we will have to somehow propagate changes upstream, which probably gonna end up in a mess. So as we have this here, we need to create another pad, and this pad going to be named todos view models. Todo view models. So we need to type it. We're going to type it spread of todo view model, and now the problem here that if we just connect it like this, you can see we already have channel spread todo view models, but worst part that you can see this connection here is grayed out, meaning that this connection created on update, and we don't want that. Instead, what we're gonna do, we're gonna define two utility methods. We're gonna define new operation, and we're gonna call it set todo view models, and basically a new output, and we're gonna assign it new operation todo view models. So when this is set, we can do the we since we're using the class instance, we can basically use this signature over here. So we can do set total view models. So basically, wherever we are calling, wherever our spread of totals is changed, we're going to emit view models for that spread, and this way of creating view models called transient. Basically, the view model is going to be created every time the total change, every time the spread of totals change. Right. So let's finish our total model. So basically what we need to do here is select by path, and we're going to need string replace string, and we're gonna do as string to string. So index is going to be to string. This is going to be the path we are selecting. So here I would like to have path called array signature, and what we have title, and we're going to replace our string with an index. Here what we want to do is a pad, and we're going to call this pad title, and we're going to assign this to an output title, and we're going to assign it to an operation title, and we need to typecast, so it's going to be channel string. So for the second channel is completed, we can just copy this. We need to change this to is completed, and change this to is completed, assign new operation is completed, and this is going to be of type string boolean. Alright, so that's our total view model. Pretty basic. But the thing to notice here is that we don't have any update method. So basically, wherever happens, we need to have everything inside of React we have to react to the changes instead of checking stuff for changes. Let's add here a little method. Let's start adding the functionality. So to do this, we're going to create some commands, and the first one obviously going to be to add todo. So for that, we're going to use IOBox generic. We're going to call it. We're going to specify type unit, and we're going to create channel. We need to assign this on create. So next thing we do is we want to have it as a path. This path going to be called add total. This also should be on create, and should output should be add total operation. Here we want to have for each channel. So inside of the for each channel, we want to call this. We want to take todos channel. So todos and we're going to get value, and we're going to set value. So here we need to add todo model. We're not going to specify the title since it's not necessarily needed right now. So with that all set, we probably can start digging the runtime, like we want to display something. So for that, we're gonna create a new process. We're going to call it todos view. We're going to use Skia and I'm GUI, so we're going to install Skia, we're going to install I'm GUI. We're going to install I'm GUI Skia. So todos view todos view is going to have an input of type up runtime, and we're going to have an I'm GUI region inside of it, and we go into output layer. So now we can connect our runtime to view. So we're not going to go into much super fancy 3D graphics around here. We're just going to add the renderer, so we can start working with UI here. So first thing we're gonna do is to create up menu. So here we're going to create a process to those mine menu. New. Inside we're gonna place a menu item. So first menu item is going to be undo. Second menu item is going to be redo. So we'll pass context around. So we need to also add an input for up runtime. So then when we have this functionality, we're going to get back to it. Alright, so view. Now we want to add some kind of button. And we will call it add todo. Why it's not displayed? Right, let's try to have a child window here. Place I love this. I'm goosing. Anyways, so it might not work. Let's do it properly straight away. So we need to have it something like todo control. The control is a shortcut for the user control that used in the C# UVP Win UI libraries. Basically, user control is some kind of item, displayable item that user has defined. So todos. So technically, we should call it todos mine menu control. Right. Not sure why that it is not displaying our buttons here. Anyways, we need let's create todos toolbar control. So here we want to have a button. We want to have a button. That button, and we want to have an input, and the input is going to be of type up runtime. Inside of the up runtime we want to get todos view model, and inside todos view model we want to get todo, and this going to be going to button, and button going to have label todo. Right, so let's see if it's created our todos toolbar control. Not so sure about it, but yeah. The I'm GUI thing is really dodgy, so let's also add a default dark them in here, default styles. Alright, so toolbar control is basically a hotbar, so where normally in application you have actions. So add todo is an action, and that's why we place it over there. Now we want to have some kind of todos control. Or even without that we can just define child. Yeah, probably it's a good idea to have todos control. So todos control is going to be a process. It's going to have a child window inside. So let's specify a label todos. Let's create a context. Let's create our input up runtime. So here we would like to have a for each loop, and we would like to have todos view model. From todos view model we would like to have todo view models, and for that we want to create our for each loop, and inside of todo control we want to have an input of todo view model. So now we can add our todos view todos view. No, we want todos control. And we want to connect it to app runtime. And here we also want to connect to an app runtime. Alright, so let's see what's going on. So we have add todo button. Add todo button is connected. We have todos control. It's going to display our todos. We selecting the todos from the app runtime. We're placing this inside of the window. So now let's do the todo control. So here we can just put an input string and we can grab title. We can grab is completed and we're gonna place toggle check box. We're likely to want it on same line. We can probably do this input multi-line though. Alright. So when that is set, we can try to add todo. Obviously nothing happened. So let's try to call a recompile. Alright, we already have an empty todo created. If we add more, we add more. So empty todo is created because we have for each run at least one set in our view model. We need to change this. Alright, probably we also want to see the GUID of todos. Todo view model. Going to copy this. It's going to be GUID. GUID. Not that we're going to change it. I think it's called ID in the going to assign it to new operation ID. So here we're going to display it. Basically we're just going to grab ID and we're going to do it to string and something like text. We probably want to have a value here. So as you can see, now we can modify totals and complete totals.